Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. I am your host. Beautiful folks, today Goldilocks is sharing some information about, again, FOREX and the changes that are coming in the banking system that are connected to the revaluation of currencies. Let's jump right into what Goldilocks is sharing today because it's quite a few. Sit down, have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, get some Doritos, some Pringles, whatever you need, some popcorn. This is going to be a very interesting podcast for you today. It's not going to be long, but enough for you to really pay attention and understand what is going on in the banking system in preparation for the revaluation of currencies. Now, let me tell you this. About a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, Wiley shared in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room ISO 4217. ISO 4217, which stands for the International Standard Organization codes. These are the codes that are numeric and also alphanumeric. So the letters IQD, it's a code within the ISO system, the International Standard Organization system. VND for the dong. That's their 3-letter code. Every currency has a code. Several months ago, we did a podcast where we showed those codes on a Saturday night dialogues call. What those currencies are that will be included in the revaluation. These codes, folks, you don't necessarily have to know what they are, but most of you already know what they are. You know the IQD, you know the VND, you know whatever currency you hold. Well, I would imagine you do. But what are these codes? What are they used for? What is happening in 2026 related to these codes for currencies in preparation for the revaluation? As of November the 22nd, SWIFT has fully mandated ISO 222 for all cross-border payment messages. Folks, what this is a messaging system, digital transformation of messages in the banking system. Goldilocks has been sharing about ISO 222 for quite some time and the importance of it. Why? This is how our currencies will be exchanged in the new banking system under ISO 222. This digital messaging system, whereby XRP, which is going to be utilized to exchange currencies in the new system, XRP is compliant with ISO 222, and actually it's the only way XRP can move is through ISO 222. The only way that our currencies can be exchanged is through ISO 222. The only way dinar can move is through ISO 222. the dong and every other currency through this digital code system. It's the new system, folks. This shift, Goldilocks is stating, is the shift replaces compact old messaging system. This is the new system. Key facts about what ISO 222 actually does. If you care to exchange your currency, you should care to understand what's involved. What this does, folks, it standardizes how payment instructions and related information are formatted and communicated. Think of your communication we pick up the phone, we place a phone call to your loved ones, send a text message, an email. Most of us don't care how the message gets there, just as long as it gets there. ISO 222, most of us, really, it's not important to really know how our exchanges will be finalized in the system. We just want to make sure that it's done. We just want to make sure that when you go in to exchange your currency, the other side of the table, you want to make sure that when it goes in the system, you just want to make sure that your currency is converted into the amount of money you're expecting. ISO 222 will be responsible for that. You got to understand that this has become mandatory now in the new system. If you have any doubts, and you've been hearing for quite some time that we're moving into a new digital banking system, if you have any doubts of that, I would imagine most of you hearing this have no doubts now that yes, we're moving into a new digital banking system, a new banking system in general. I would imagine most of you are aware now that the new system had to be in place in order for the currency revaluation to happen. This new mandatory codes of ISO and for payment systems worldwide, folks, this is currency exchange. This is how money moves in the banking system. This includes those for reserve currencies, like the US dollar moving through FedWire, FedNow, whereby Goldilocks reported on July of this year and July of last year the importance of FedWire and FedNow. That is how, ladies and gentlemen, in the US, there is no other way for currencies to be exchanged into the US dollar other than through FedWire and FedNow, which are now compliant with ISO 222 as of July of this year. What happens is this can carry information, this new system, this ISO 222 mandatory messaging system can carry information about any currency using a bridge. But it's another code. And that's called the ISO 4217 codes, which Wiley so graciously shared in the QFS Dialogues room over a year and a half ago. And Goldilocks wrote about before. ISO, International Standard Organization, 4217 codes. These are the codes. IQD, the code. VND, the code. That's the letter code. Then there's digital codes. That is represented for the dinar, for the dong in every currency. In order for our currencies to move through the new banking system, in order for our currencies to be exchanged, when you walk in, so when you go into exchange your currency, there's going to be these codes that you'll never see, you'll never know exist, but behind the scenes, these codes in the system will be running. Those are the ISO 222 codes and the ISO 4217 code that will recognize the code for your specific currency. See, folks, these are the real codes. You never heard about codes being, codes that were being put in and pressed, and codes of the RV codes are been put. You've been hearing about. Where have you seen these codes? What's the name of them? Are these the Chinese, Korean, or Filipino codes that supposedly exist for the last 20 years, but no one has seen or heard of these codes? But here you have verifiable bank codes where Goldilocks has shown in writing what the real codes are for your currencies. Wiley showed what the real codes are for your currency. What's the name of those currency codes that you were told about for the last so many months and years? Hello? What's the name of them? Where? From what? From where? Who? How? Oh. Don't know. Don't know, do you? They never told you because they don't know. Well, here you have the actual FOREX codes that are being updated into the banking system. ISO, International Standard Organization. The key changes that are happening with FOREX is the payment integration that will include these FOREX codes under the new mandated rules. Reducing manual interventions, meaning reducing human error, reducing and minimizing, eliminating human manual intervention on currency flows, whereby the technology in itself, where the codes are integrated in, will be responsible for determining how fast transactions move and how the currencies move through the system. Transparency, faster processing with these new codes, better compliance and fraud detection because of the new codes integrated into the system, the new ISO codes for FOREX. These codes also will eliminate the money laundering and criminal activity in the new banking system. Yes, these codes can identify the location and from where these these currencies are coming from. If someone has in some way, shape, or form had any particular criminal background or have any particular agenda for criminal activity with dirty money, the new system won't even recognize. The new system will boot their currencies and not even allow them to be exchanged. That's the new system. ISO 4217 updates, which are the actual 3-letter and numeric codes for each currency. The dinar has them. The dong has them. ISO 4217 codes are actively being updated in preparation for significant financial transitions in 2026. Why? Goldilocks is asking. The answer is to provide a clear and standardized way to identify currencies and funds in the international trade, commerce, and banking system. So the transition These ISO 4217 codes are being updated to make sure there's a clear and standardized shift in all the currencies in 2026. The most notable change are several currencies that many of you have heard of. Vietnam in itself. Vietnam is compliant with the ISO 4217 codes. Iraq is compliant. So that means the dinar and the dong are compliant. You may ask, well, Freedom, what about such and such currency? All you have to do is come into the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room and research, hit the search bar, and find ISO 4217. It's all there. Yeah, I know. Since we put it out in our room, it's been floating all over the internet all of a sudden. And people don't even know what it is. You're more than welcome to come to our room and find out. We've provided plenty of dialogue information to educate you if you care to know. So the ISO 222 promises richer, structured data and reduces processing times, improves fraud detection within the banks. This is not something that you have to be concerned about. Unless you have any intentions of committing fraud, you do. The banks will, they'll know. But just know that your transactions, the exchanges, everything will be much faster, more efficient, and synchronized in the new banking system. Goldilocks is stating that national currencies like the dinar and the dong and even the rupiah they all have their codes. ISO 4217. ISO 222 is a messaging standard for electronic data interchange between financial institutions. ISO 4217 is the bridge that connects one currency to the other in the banking system and enables them to be exchanged. Iraq, Vietnam, and Indonesia are all migrating these systems. These codes are unique, and in foreign exchange, ISO 222 messages carry the actual transaction details, the amount of the transaction, the rate of the currency, the settlement instructions, everything. And it includes the ISO 4217 codes inside the message payload. This is modern technology, folks, that is integrated into the banking system that will be there in preparation for the revaluation of currencies. Last, Goldilocks is stating that Iraq is still transitioning into a digital dinar. And Goldilocks will actually share more about that today when those of you are hearing this. The foundation has been laid for the new digital banking system, Goldilocks is stating. At this time, it is time for countries to catch up to the new open banking system that will allow changes to take place. From this moment forward, the interfacing of international payment systems and the digital assets that will move traditional assets from one country to the next, from one person to the next, the stage is now being set for the next act in 2026. It would be in your best interest to be prepared. I know many of you are with your relationships, and many of you are not. Whatever you choose to do, just understand and know that God is giving you the opportunity to be prepared for the blessing that He has for you. Like the saying goes, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. God has presented the blessing of being prepared for you. It's up to you whether or not you'll take a sip. Be well, beautiful folks. We love you. Ciao, ciao.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.